The funding for this video is provided by the amazing members of our Patreon. Also contributions from viewers like you. Thank you. Y'all started from PBS Kids, what you gonna do? Fight me? Anyway, roll the video. Tiana, what's going on, homegirl? Come on, do you need to call me? We need to have a talk, cause baby, what's going on? Girl. Hey y'all, it's Harriana back with another video. Hi, hello, how you doing? My name is Harriana and welcome to or welcome back to the pirate ship, also known as Harry Hook's pirate ship. I am the captain, you are not my first mate. I don't got no first mate because you want to know why. Bring your ear closer to the speaker so you can hear me clearly. Nobody's worthy of being the first mate. But hi, hello, how are you doing? My name is Harriana and I like to make content based on nostalgia and family and children's entertainment and all the issues that I find within those spaces. Now, in today's episode of the Disney December series, it's inspired by Doug Walker. I do my own version of Disney December. We got that clear. Now let's move forward. We will be talking about Almost There by Farrah Roshan. I hope I pronounced her last name correctly. And this is basically a book that rewrote the last fourth of the Princess and the Frog movie. Basically, if Tiana made a deal with Dr. Facilier bitch ass. Now, this book came out last year, but I didn't necessarily read it up until this year. And I'm going to be completely honest, it is one of my favorite reads that I have read this year because I have read quite a few terrible books this year. I'm not even going to get into it. I'm going to talk about that shit on my blog so y'all can read about it over there. But overall, this book eats. And I'm going to be completely honest, I like this book a lot more than the movie. Like, I'm not even fucking joking. And I think mainly because the movie had so much animal type shit up in it. This one was more so focused on the humans. It takes place a year later after the events that happened in The Princess and the Frog that I felt like was improved. Mainly if they fell in The Princess and the Frog, but for the most part, we get to spend so much time with Tiana as a human. She's not a fucking frog in this movie, but it also doesn't take place over like 3 fucking days like the movie did. We actually get to know more about Tiana. We get to know more about New Orleans. We get to learn more about Lottie. We get to learn more about Naveen. We get to know more about her parents and whatnot. And for the most part, before we can go any further, I think I need to talk about the deal that she ended up making with Dr. Facilier. She ended up making a deal with Dr. Facilier. Y'all know that part in the movie where he turned her human for like a few minutes and was talking to her and she was wearing the white dress. He was like, yeah, you can get your restaurant. Your dad will be alive. And Tiana actually made that horrible fucking decision and was like, yeah, I think I will do that because she desperately missed her father and she also so desperately wanted to get her fucking restaurant. Part of the reason Tiana had such a difficult time getting her restaurant in the first place in the movie was because them 2 racist ass white men didn't want to fucking give it to her. So she ended up getting another building, not the one that she was, you know, keen on, but she ended up getting another building. Her dad is still alive, but the vibes are just completely off. And also another deal that she made with Dr. Facilier was that Naveen would have no memory of her. He would have no memory of any of the events that happened. Everything is just going to go back to completely normal and how things usually were. So we fast forward to an entire year later in the story where Tiana's dad is alive. And instead of it just being Tiana's palace, you know, her restaurant that she had at the end of the movie, it's a restaurant that is for her and her father. They are the owners. They have both of their names in the titles. And it's pretty much what Tiana wanted with the restaurant that she got at the end of The Princess and the Frog, but it's a bit smaller, but it's still like a hit in town. People still love coming there. She has an entire staff. They're like black girls too, by the way. I'm glad to know that. Her mother does help with the shop. Her dad does help cook and everything like that. It's really nice to see Tiana actually be like Tiana. We got to learn more about why she adored her father so much and where so much of her love for cooking came from. We got to learn a little bit more about her mother. It's also dated as hell though, because there are certain things that happened in this book that kind of made me get a little irritated, but then I had to remember that it needed to be realistic to that time period. There was something that Tiana's mom said that like pissed me off, mainly because it was personal, but she said something about, Tiana, you too skinny, you need to eat. And I'm just, my auntie had said some shit like that to me earlier this year when I went to go see her, and she was like, Harry, do you eat meat? You so skinny. And I was like, yeah. She was like, what kind of you be eating chicken and seafood? And I'm just like, ma'am, I have not seen you in a while, and then as soon as I come and talk to you, you just want to comment on my body. But that's just something that black families always be doing, and it's pretty realistic. So even though that part irritated me, I was like, and there were other moments like that happened in this book too. But I'm like, y'all, if we're just gonna tell black stories, I think we should tell all the bullshit that be going on within our community, because that shit pissed me off so bad. But I was just like, you know what? It's realistic. As much as it made me mad just thinking about that, I was like, a lot of black families do that shit. There were like little moments in there here and there that pissed me off, because there was an entire part where Tiana and Charlotte went shopping with each other, and the lady was being racist to Tiana, and Charlotte was like, oh, let's get our asses out of here then, so she would be racist to my friend. And speaking of Charlotte, we get to spend a lot of time with Charlotte too, just as well, but more so having to do with Tiana's friendship with her. A lot of people that like Charlotte's character, I feel like they will like this book, but if you thinking that this is just going to be a Charlotte solo story, absolutely fucking not. Because at the end of the day, Princess Tiana is the HBIC of The Princess and the Frog. Mainly, Charlotte's focus in this story is to help Tiana and Naveen get back together, because Naveen has no memory of all that frog bullshit that happened, but Tiana remembers it all. Remember how I said that this book is just full of Princess Tiana making bad decisions? She made that really bad deal with Dr. Facilier, and throughout the story she is still constantly talking to him, having to keep this deal up, yada yada yada. And I think this is the first time I've ever really seen Tiana be a fucking bitch to someone that deserves it. Like, yeah, there were moments in the Princess and the Frog movie where she was being a bitch to Naveen, but he like deserved that shit. But you know, at the end of the day, Tiana was mad at him in that moment. She didn't genuinely dislike Naveen then, but seeing her actually be a fucking bitch to somebody that she absolutely despises, it was amazing. I'm sorry. I am somebody that feels as if it is important for us to tell stories about black women being flawed, and I specifically want these stories to be told by black women themselves, because a black woman wrote this book too, and there's a lot of nuances that goes into writing black female characters, especially those who are women, because I talked about this problem with My Life as a Teenage Robot, where I said the only black girl in there, or the only girl of color or darker skin that was in there, was villainized as hell. She wasn't a main, she was just a fucking bully to the main girl. That's an entire different conversation, because y'all like to mix up shit that I say, and I was like, you say you want this character to be flawed, but then you criticize this character here. Like I said, y'all need to understand the entirety of what I be speaking about and the nuances that go into that. I adore The Princess and the Frog, but one thing about the movie is that it felt as if it tried to paint Tiana out to be perfect. They literally didn't want it. Literally, she did everything that she could to, you know, make sure she was fitting in and making sure she was working hard and this and that and the third. The movie just painted Tiana out to be perfect, and when I figured out who wrote the movie, it was black men and white men that wrote this film. And it most definitely showed, because if I want Tiana to be making bad decisions and doing things that are questionable and are a bit frustrating, like she did in this entirety of this book, because she was like literally avoiding the fuck out of Naveen, and she felt like she was doing that to protect him, but her doing that shit was only making her hurt more in the end. And it was also very frustrating on Naveen's end, because he was like, what did I do to Tiana? Why did she hate me so bad? When he actually just had a crush on her in reality, and she's just constantly doing stuff in this book thinking that it was going to make things better, but honestly it was making shit worse. And it really started off in the beginning when she ended up making that deal with Dr. Facilier. Now in the movie, we do see Tiana make a big fuck up, and you know, that being kissing Naveen when he was a fucking frog. But she really didn't even make no more fuck ups after that. This book is just Tiana making bad decision after bad decision and bad decision, and I adored it and I loved it. But you want to know why? I think black characters are allowed to be flawed, especially black women, because we live in a world where black women are constantly always under pressure to be perfect. I understand that. I am constantly always apologizing for every little last thing and every little slip of a mistake that I make. And one of y'all even said something to me about this recently in my comments, saying, Harry, you don't always need to apologize for every little last fucking thing, especially when you didn't do anything wrong. Because I get that. I understand that. People always gonna find any kind of way to villainize a black woman. I get it. And even though Tiana was making mistakes, I personally don't feel as if this story was villainizing her. And you want to know why? It's because for all the bad mistakes that Tiana was making, she was mainly doing it because she felt as if it would have helped other people. She was constantly doing things that were hurting herself for the benefit of others, or so she thought. None of the bad decisions that Tiana was making in this book was done out of malicious intent. It was done because she was hurting. And I appreciate that so much with this, because this book is very much realistic to how Tiana is in the film, but we get to see a more human side of her. We actually get to see her break down more. We actually get to see her be scared and frightened, but we also get to see the more vulnerable side of her, because as we know, Princess Tiana, she was like, I don't have time for niggas. I don't have time for these niggas out here. I'm trying to work. I'm trying to make that bag. And I understand that. I get that, girl. But here we actually get to see she fell in love with somebody, and now she's just like, shit, I actually have caught feelings for somebody, and now I'm frustrated and I don't know what to fucking do. And part of the reason why she didn't want to be around Naveen for the most part is because she was so hurt with the deal that she made, but also she just didn't want to get attached to him. She didn't want things to go south or anything like that. She just didn't want to make the situation worse than it already was, because Tiana felt as though she should be happy. She felt that she should be happy because she finally got her restaurant. Her dad was alive again, even though he died a while ago. So for him to just magically come back like that, I was just like, okay. I really like this because it goes to show you that even though Tiana got the thing that she desperately wanted, one being her restaurant and two for her father to be alive so she can share that experience with him, she still necessarily wasn't fucking happy. Like, she was literally stressed out all the time. She was constantly running away from Naveen. She still had to meet up with Dr. Facilier bitch ass to, you know, continue on the deal that they had going on, not realizing that that shit was gonna crash and burn in the end. Like I said, making bad decisions. Honestly, the behaviors of Tiana in this book was reminding me a lot of Howling Wolf behaviors in Monster High 13 Wishes. Everybody that knows me knows that I love Monster High 13 Wishes, and I say that is the unhinged black girl film right there, because that entire movie was about Howling Wolf making bad decisions, and all of those decisions were made was because she was hurting on the inside. And I appreciate that we got to see Tiana hurt. And even though this book is like a wholesome type story, but it has those moments in it that like make you really, really fucking sad, this book actually made me cry a lot because it's the story that I wish I could have got from the movie. I like this book a lot more than I did the film, and mainly because I felt like this book, even though like I said it's a Disney book and you know the targeted demographic is pretty much everybody, this book didn't necessarily feel fucking kiddie if you asked me. Like, it actually felt like a mature novel. And the thing that gets on my nerves about it when people talk about they want like more mature books and this and that and the third is that they think it's gonna have a whole bunch of sex scenes and violence and this and that and the third. No, I just want a story about adults told realistically, and that is what I got from here. It's a cute, wholesome romance story. It's actually nice to see that Naveen is like a better person here. That is one of the biggest improvements that came from this book just as well, opposed to the movie, because as I had rewatched that movie, Naveen was not all that much likable to me, but I liked him so much more here. He actually has a fucking job. He's not a bum. He actually grows and becomes a better person. And mind you, like in the original Princess and the Frog, he wasn't paying Tiana no attention. Like, he was checking her out in the beginning of the movie, but here we actually get to see that Naveen wasn't necessarily interested in Tiana, more so for like materialistic reasons and whatnot, because that really was like the only reason he was interested in Charlotte. And in this book we get to see that him and Charlotte do develop a friendship, but he realizes like, yeah, she not my type. I like Tiana. And he mainly liked Tiana because he thought she worked really, really hard. He thought she was super duper pretty. He liked her for who she was as a person, and that's why he wanted to talk to her. But she was just so desperately afraid of getting close to him again because she thought the shit was all gonna crash and burn in the end. There are moments of this book that are just genuinely frustrating, and there are times in this story where Tiana gets on my nerves. Does that mean that I hate her? No. I appreciate that this book allowed Tiana to be flawed. And I'll be honest, nobody write black women better than black women. Most definitely. I personally think that the original Princess and the Frog movie could have had more black women's involvement when it came to the production of that writing. And that's most definitely why, seeing how well this book took care of Tiana's character, that is why I'm excited for the new Tiana series that is going to be coming out whenever it comes out. And there's also going to be a Tiana graphic novel that comes out next year too, and I found out Naveen barely gonna be in that shit, so but here, I've always been somebody that has loved Princess Tiana since I was pretty much itty bitty, and this book made me love her even more because I felt like this story grew up with me because The Princess and the Frog came out when I was little. I am grown now, and that is when this book came out, and it felt a lot more mature than the movie did. And mainly that just had to do with the fact that this movie wasn't, you know, full of all that talking animal shit and all that. But it did have a lot to still do with voodoo, magic, the city of New Orleans. We did get to learn a lot more about New Orleans culture, and it was nice to know that the author, I'm pretty sure she is from New Orleans, and if she is, and I know for sure that she is from Louisiana. Like, another reason why I said it made me cry so much, because I finally felt like I was getting the Tiana content that I've been wanting, but also it does talk a bit about the subject of grief, and that shit was hard. Like, it was literally hard, and I'm trying not to cry because no, but I'm somebody that has helped to deal with numerous deaths in my family in the last few years. Like, I literally lost my grandma, I lost my granddaddy, I lost like my uncles, I lost my auntie, but like the two big ones had to be like me losing my mama at the end of 2021, and also I lost literally one of my closest friends, Tiana, this year. I lost her in November, and that's part of the reason why every Disney December video is dedicated to her. But also another reason why I found like a new love for The Princess and the Frog again, mainly because Tiana reminded me a lot of the film. She did like the movie, and I had also picked her to play Dr. Facilier's daughter in my series The Progenies. Tiana reminds me so much of this film, and knowing that she deeply appreciated it the way I did, I felt like more connected to the story there. And reading this book, there's a line in it where Tiana is like, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be like truly happy again because my dad isn't here with me. And I honestly completely understand how that feels, because in the movie, like I said, the movie was just so much of Tiana like suppressing how she was feeling and just trying to be perfect and trying to keep it together. And in this book, we actually do get to see her fall apart more, and I deeply appreciate it because she's human. And I have talked about how I've gotten irritated with the way Disney has been writing a lot of their female heroines in the last few years. And I'd say like the best ones that they have done so far would have to be in fucking Big Hero 6 and Big Hero 6 the series. I wish they could have put more of that in their more mainstream stuff. But Tiana is somebody that I think is a well-written character if they actually spent more time with her in the movie. And the book expands so much upon that, and it really gets to talk more about Tiana and her grief, because part of the reason, thinking about like Wendell and Wild, I think it is important for us to see more vulnerable black women and just black girls in general within our media. Because I'm gonna read you guys the line that like literally made me like lose it, because it's not the last line in the book, but it's one of them. She said not too long before, she would have maintained that no matter how well things were going, she would never truly be happy again because her father was no longer with her. And I understand how that feeling is. Like, because y'all know I lost my damn mama. But also, I lost Tiana, and Tiana was like a sister to me. Like, she knew all my damn business. I cried to her and everything. Like, I just feel so hurt by that shit. And knowing that I have a character that I can relate to a little bit with the subject of grief and being hurt and all of that shit right there, like, you know, thinking that you're never going to be happy again because a person that you love is no longer in your life anymore, that made me feel a little bit more comfortable with my situation. Because I'm just like, one thing that kind of frustrates me when I'm watching Disney movies is that people be dying left and right. Like, people just be dying, and then they just act like it's nothing when it happens. And I was just like, can we be a little bit more realistic here? Can we be a little bit more realistic here? And that's why I appreciate Wendell and Wild. Wendell and Wild wasn't no damn Disney movie. It was on Netflix, but we actually got to see how, like, emotional Kat was about her parents dying. And in this book, we actually get to see much more about how hurt Tiana was by her dad dying. Like, we actually get to see how that fucked her up so bad. I'm telling y'all, I've been so fucked up since Tashana died. Like, it has been terrible, okay? I have been crying every single day since she has passed. I've been trying to get on camera and just, like, present myself to be happy and whatnot. But, like, no, I'm hurting and I'm masking. But I get that. And I feel like so many black women deal with that shit in general. And just black women and femmes and non-binary people in general. Is that we have to kind of like present ourselves as, you know, we have our shit together. We have to go to work. We have to go make our money because, you know, we live in a very capitalist world. We have to participate in capitalism in order to survive. So we might as well do something that we enjoy for money. We constantly have to go on about our day and just suppress how we're feeling. And, like, there's a line that I wrote in the opening of me and Amaya's book. Like, me and Amaya love Princess Tiana so much, we dedicated that book to her. And it's like, the world has no issue with beating up a black woman, but when they cry from finally being beaten on, they're shunned for expressing that they're in pain. And I feel like this book did, like, a really good job on just understanding that at the end of the day, Tiana is a black woman that lives in a world that is very, very hard on her. And just her kind in general. And we're going to talk about that, and we're going to expand upon that. And yeah, I'm just talking at this point, but I loved this book. I truly did. I love reading about Tiana making bad decisions to 400 pages. It may seem like it's a long book, but when you actually open this shit, you see, like, it's not that many words on each page. It's pretty much enjoyable. If you can, buy it secondhand because you know how this company is right now, okay? But this is a pretty enjoyable book. If you guys are looking for like a cute little romance story to read, like I said, go get it secondhand, wink wink, because you know how Disney is. But also, if you're somebody that genuinely just loves Princess Tiana's character and you like her more than her damn movie, this is actually a good read. I truly did enjoy it. And yeah, that's pretty much all I want to say. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed that. And tomorrow will be the grand finale of this year's Disney-cember, and I'm gonna go all the way out. Yeah. Also, you don't know what this outfit is. This outfit's basically, it's The Princess and the Frog took place in 2003. This is how I think Tiana would dress if that shit took place in 2003. Also, there was something that I had said. I said, if The Princess and the Frog took place in 2003, back that ass up would have been in the movie. It most definitely would. That song would have been in the film. But yeah, I'm just talking at this point. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great day, night, whatever time of the day that you're watching this. I'm just thankful you watched the video. Follow my Instagram, my shop, and my blog is at harryonahook.com. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and have a good day, night, whatever time of the day that you're watching this video. I'm just thankful that you watched it. All right, thank you. Goodbye.